When we're in that flashback, right after, Cooper picks up his daughter and they're driving away, she asks where they're going, and he just says, oh, we're going to Bakersfield. I'm quite familiar with Bakersfield and what it has to offer. And Bakersfield is a place you don't go. It's a place you never want to go unless you miss the exit coming out of LA, trying to go up 5 to go back to Northern California. You end up in Bakersfield and you have to cut back across. That's the only reason anyone should ever go to Bakersfield. Welcome back, everybody. We're doing a little Fallout Season 2. We got the premiere episode. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about it. Let's just jump into it. New Vegas! So I'm like a diehard Fallout fan. New Vegas was my favorite game. I played them a little bit after. I didn't have a PlayStation or an Xbox at the time. Those were my dark ages. And I started playing them a little bit later. And I just fell in love with them. I borrowed my friend's PS3, played Fallout 3, played New Vegas, which was by far my preferred game. And I just couldn't get enough of it. When Fallout 4 came out, my head exploded and I bought a PS4 just to play that game. I'm a diehard Fallout fan. I love it so much. So visiting New Vegas here this season is so exciting to me, and to see all these places realized in the real world, it's going to be so cool. And I used to, for work, I would travel to Vegas all the time. We had these conferences there. And I remember just standing at the window, looking out at the Vegas skyline from Caesar's Palace. And I could see Novak would be over there, over by Henderson. And then up here where the Kings were, north, Fremont Street and all that stuff. Oh, that's where this vault is or that vault is. And or Red Rocks up on the mountains. I remember looking out and seeing that and be like, oh my God, this is so crazy to see all this stuff, in the real world. So seeing it in the Fallout world realized, actually in universe is even cooler. Just kind of ties it all together, and I really appreciate it. Makes me miss home a lot. I don't live in the US anymore, so thinking back to Vegas and seeing Vegas, and it just warms my heart a little bit. We're starting this season off pretty strong with Justin Theroux, Mr. House. By the way, perfect casting choice for him. And he's sitting in the bar, everyone's complaining about how they're getting replaced by robots, essentially. A very topical subject these days. So I guess he has some kind of body double. Same thing happened last season where they had a different actor cast, and he was, sitting at that table with all the big corporate heads and with Cooper's wife and all that in Vault Tech. And it's that same different actor. And what I think probably happened, in the real world, is that they had somebody else cast for the role, kind of just to fill in, probably last season. But I think they tried to write it into the story this time by having him be the public-facing Mr. House. And I don't know. I thought that was creative how they kind of wrote their casting woes into the story here. As they head outside, and Mr. House is just as deranged as he is in the game. He wants to test out this thing. He has a trunk full of millions of dollars, $30-something million. And crazy. I don't think he was ever planning on paying out anything. It seems like they were always just going to have his head explode. Might be that he lost control of his situation and that's why he did it, but he didn't seem to give a shit either way. He just had him kill his friends and then blew his head up. The most Fallout thing ever. The world may end, but progress marches on. Mr. House is just as fucking deranged as he is in Obsidian's game. The way Obsidian wrote him, this is exactly the same character that I remember playing this game all those years ago. And the years since then, too. I've played this game so many times. And it's just cool to see him realized like this. As lackluster in a lot of ways of a season premiere this episode was, I did really appreciate this Novak reference, this, that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like, whoop, whoop, and then he points out, to the camera in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I definitely had one of those moments here. Seeing Novak was really cool. And that was a nice nerd moment for me. And I'm sure everybody else who's played the game. It was cool. It was great. Just like what we're going to talk about with the rest of this episode. There's a lot of great little elements like that. Great little scenes, great little sequences. But as the show carries on, it kind of struggled to hold my attention a little bit. But we'll unpack that more in a second. By the way, the little mini nuke that goes off when the car gets destroyed, I appreciated that. Anyone who's played the games knows you destroy a car, there's a small nuclear explosion that goes off. And I appreciated that they added that in. Just another one of those Leonardo DiCaprio moments where it's oh, look. But oh my God, hearing Big Iron here blew my fucking mind. It was so cool. I wasn't anticipating how big of a deal that would be for me. That was by far my favorite song I would play on the radio in New Vegas. I cannot get that song out of my head. I've sung that song to myself and like around my house to my family a billion times. I love that song. It's by far my favorite one. But yeah, hearing Big Iron brings me back to such a specific time and place in my life. And like just where I was, what I was thinking, how I was feeling, all of that comes right back up as soon as I heard that song. And that was a good nostalgia trip for me, as I'm sure it was for everybody else who's played the game. Yeah. Oh yeah, the other best part of this was having the Ghoul, you know, as we know, they heal with radiation and stuff. And like having him take the fusion core and like slide it across his neck to heal his wounds there. That was so cool. I just thought that was a nice touch. I appreciate that about Jonathan Nolan and whoever else it is that runs this show, is that like he loves Fallout, and I'm sure everybody else who's on this appreciates and respects Fallout. And there's all these adaptations coming out, and that's what they are. They adapt it for the screen from a game. And I feel like with this show, and it's probably unique to this IP, like the way, you know, how campy it is and how self-referential and silly it is, that it totally works to just kind of one for one the game here. You could make the argument that things like The Last of Us and these other shows, you really could one-to-one them and it would still be just as effective as the game is. But, you know, in this one specifically, I feel like it works perfectly to just take these elements from the game, people that love the game, throw them right in there. You know, whether it's prop design or set deck or whatever it is, it's all just perfectly referential to the game. And yeah, I just appreciated that. That was pretty cool. One more thing is we also get the first hint of some of the factions that we're going to see. We saw like the Kings and stuff in one of the trailers for this season, but then we see under Novak, the sign, there's a Great Khan sign, and that was pretty cool to see. I just can't wait to see all these factions show up. There's so many good ones in New Vegas. Damn, it's such a good game. So I'm hoping we bring all of them into this season at some point or another. So we get this guy coming out of a meeting, with the Overseer. He comes out and he sees Chet there, and he says something along the lines of, "Heck of a wife you got, Chet." He says, "We're not actually married." And then he says, "And a beautiful baby," totally like ignoring his response. And then he says, "Not mine." And I was just cracking up at this one. Like, it just reminded me of this weird relationship that they have, how everyone thinks, that he's the dad and also that he's the husband, and how people are saying Chet Jr. is the name of his son. I love that she calls it an it and like has seemingly no compassion or love for this child at all. Yeah, that whole sequence was just so funny and gave me a good laugh. I think by far the funniest part of this episode for sure. But yeah, what a shitty dynamic those two have. What a shitty relationship. Huh. When Lucy and Cooper, the Ghoul, get to Vault 24, and it's abandoned, it's totally left to rot. And she comes inside and says, "Oh my God, I've never seen a vault like this before." And yeah, this line just caught me off guard because we've seen so many vaults like this if you played the games. Almost all of them are like this. They've all failed. All their experiments failed. All the people left or died. And when the Ghoul says, "Par for the course in my experience," I had a little bit of a realization here. He's totally like the player in a Fallout game. He's the grizzled, experienced, seen all the vaults, explored the wasteland. He's seen pre-war what the world was like. All these things that we've experienced in these Fallout games over the years. I just thought that was kind of interesting where he's us. He's the player character in this show. Kind of someone who knows what's been, who knows how it works, and is explaining things to the kind of fish out of water main character, Lucy. He's just a perfect touch point for all of us that have played the games, our way into the story. And it's like, oh yeah, he's saying that for us. It's kind of like we're a part of that scene in a way. All of our experience, all of the time we've spent in this world. Overall, it was a fine season premiere. It did its job, I guess. I would have expected something a little more exciting, a little more plot progressing. It feels like we really didn't get very far with the story in this one. We got elements of the pre-war stuff and what leads up to the Great War. We got elements of what her dad is doing. We have that scene where he's in some Vault-Tec facility. He apparently he's working for Mr. House. There's little elements like that we're getting hinted at, but we didn't get a lot here. It felt a little hollow, this episode. And there's a few funny moments. There's a few, lighthearted moments, and a few heavier moments. That guy in the vault whose head explodes, like that was a little creepy, right? So we're a good taste of what's to come, I'm sure. I'm hoping there's only 8 episodes this season, so I'm really hoping things kind of pick up here. I hate how every show is like 8 episodes now. I feel like 10 minimum it should be, but we'll see how they deliver, for the next 7 episodes of the season. But yeah, it was okay. I'm sure you probably felt the same. Let me know what you thought of this episode. I'm curious to hear how other people feel about it, especially if you've played the games before. I want to hear, what parts kind of resonated with you. I'm sure like the Novak part and like all those kinds of elements probably. But yeah, keep it shorter today. Thanks for your time. I know it's valuable. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you next week for another hopefully awesome episode of Fallout Season 2. All right, bye.